In the early morning, before the campus bells rang and before the world remembered to hurry, a successful student sat alone by an open window. The air was cool and still. Nothing special happened in that moment, yet something quiet settled inside him. He noticed that even without effort, the light arrived. It did not rush. It did not ask permission. It simply came, as it always had. And for the first time since hearing of a death, he wondered if life might move the same way, steady, faithful, and untouched by his sorrow. The student had done everything right. He studied hard, earned praise, reached goals early. Teachers spoke his name with pride. Friends looked to him for answers. Yet when someone he loved died, all his success felt thin, like paper soaked in water. He tried to be strong. He tried to understand. Mostly he tried not to feel sad, because sadness felt like failure. He asked himself why achievement could not protect him from loss. One evening he walked to a small garden behind the old library, where an elderly teacher often swept fallen leaves. The teacher was not famous and did not teach any important subject. He simply cared for the place. The student asked, "If someone dies, how do I stop feeling sad? I want to move forward. I want to succeed, but grief pulls me back." The teacher continued sweeping. Leaves gathered. Leaves were moved aside. Nothing was rushed. After a while, the teacher said, "When a leaf falls, does the tree feel guilty for letting it go?" The student did not answer. The teacher smiled softly. Sadness is not the problem. Believing that sadness means something is wrong with you, that is the weight. You think you must fight the river because it flows. The student returned home with that thought. He noticed how often he assumed things without knowing it. He assumed that being strong meant not feeling pain. He assumed that time should heal quickly if he was doing life correctly. He assumed that death was an interruption, not a movement. Over the next days, he watched small things. He watched steam rise from tea and disappear without drama. He watched the sun leave the sky each evening without apology. He began to see that endings were not mistakes. They were part of a larger rhythm that did not stop to explain itself. His sadness did not vanish, but it softened when he stopped arguing with it. He realized that sadness was not asking to stay forever. It was only asking to be noticed and allowed to pass through. Like rain, it fell, and like rain, it moved on when the clouds were done speaking. One afternoon, the teacher said, "You believe you are a person who has lost something. That belief shapes how you walk, how you breathe, how you wait. What if you are simply a person who has loved?" That question stayed with him. He felt how identity worked quietly, like roots underground. When he believed he was broken, every thought followed that shape. When he believed he was still whole, even with loss, his body relaxed. His mind stopped searching for answers that did not exist. Time also changed. Before, he treated time like a ladder to climb. Now it felt more like a field. Nothing pushed him forward. Nothing pulled him back. Moments arrived when they were ready. Healing did not obey his schedule, and he stopped asking it to. He began to understand that overcoming sadness did not mean erasing it. It meant not building a home inside it. He let it visit, sit quietly, and leave. Each time it came, it stayed a little less. One morning while walking to class, he noticed something simple. He was breathing easily. He was not trying to be brave. He was not trying to remember or forget. He was just there. Life moved through him without resistance. The thought came gently, not as a command, but as a knowing. Nothing that truly belongs to you can be lost, because it was never separate from you to begin with. He understood then that death had not taken love away. It had only changed its form. Love was no longer in conversation or touch, but it was still in him, shaping how he saw the world.
and because it was inside him, it could not disappear. That night he dreamed of a river flowing past a quiet village. People came and went. The river did not stop. It did not grieve. It carried everything forward without effort. When he woke, the sadness was lighter, not gone, but no longer heavy. He did not promise himself to never feel sad again. Instead, he agreed to never argue with life again. And that agreement changed everything.